Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Always a Patriot, the John Jay Soccer Podcast. I'm Brendan Horton, joined as always by Coach Robert Seipp. How's it going, Coach?
Doing well, Coach. How are you?
Doing well, much better than earlier in the week. I think
Yeah,
the both of us.
yeah, boy. I was struggling there. Monday we got rained out at Lakeland. Thank God, because Tuesday I really struggled just to get through school, losing my voice and thought I had strep throat. But I went to the doctor's on Wednesday to a walk-in clinic, and first thing I said to him was, I should have been here yesterday. I don't know why I waited a day, but yeah, it knocked me on my butt. But back up and at it. Today was my first day back with the boys on Saturday at Ramapo. And my voice, as you can hear, is still a little squeaky, but I'm on the road to recovery, which is awesome.
Glad to hear.
How about you? How are you feeling?
I'm
You all
feeling
right?
better. Yeah, I missed school on Friday. Yeah, yesterday. But it was a rough week. But I definitely wasn't in as bad a shape as you. But I just was not feeling well. So you missed practice all week. We had this week planned out where we were going to have four awesome practice sessions,
Yeah,
and you ended up
didn't work
missing
out.
all four of them, and I
Yeah,
ended up
I
missing
did.
two of them.
Yeah.
So it didn't really pan out the way we had intended. But we were rained out to start off the week on Monday. We were supposed to play Beacon in the Section 1 versus Section 9 11th annual challenge for Miles of Hope. It was unfortunately rained out with the nor'easter that came through. I don't know what it was like in Westchester, but up here in Dutchess, it really, it
Yeah,
wasn't too bad. It
yeah.
rained hard for a little while, but it wasn't terribly windy or anything like that. I know a couple of my coworkers live in like Putnam, Carmel area, lost power, so maybe things were a little bit worse down
Okay.
there. But it would have been nice to play that game. It's we talked for the last week about what an honor it is for us to get asked to play and participate and make the donation and things like that. To my knowledge, all the teams are still making their planned donation to the Miles of Hope. So the bigger picture is still not lost sight of. I have the t-shirts for our players in my classroom that I'm going to grab for them on Monday, and I'll have them to them. So, at least a little bit of good will come out of it, even though we weren't able to get a game in. And now, with it being a non-Section 1 game and Monday being the last day to play, we're just going to have a 15-game season here.
Yeah, we tried to make it up, right? I immediately got in touch with Beacon, and unfortunately, like you said, that we couldn't play on Monday. I think they issued like a state of emergency,
Yeah,
right, on
for
Sunday
Westchester.
night for
Yeah,
Westchester. So it's always better to be safe, and the people running the state and the county, always better to make a decision, to err on the side of safety for sure. But we were disappointed, so yeah, I immediately reached out to Beacon, and we had settled on Thursday, on a couple days ago, but he wasn't able to field a team, didn't have enough players to do it. So that was disappointing. But yeah, we'll go ahead with a 15-game season and don't miss out on that opportunity. But like you said, we did mail in our check. We did donate. We thank our booster club for that. I mean, Angela Lurs is our booster club president. She's unbelievable, right? I
yeah,
mean,
she's
two years ago,
wonderful.
2 years ago, she was helping out with a slew of senior parents, right? The Petersons, the Murrays, the Ziolas. I
Ziolas,
mean,
yep.
they were so involved, these people. And Angela Lurs was the only quote unquote underclass, parent. All these very involved parents left, and she was overwhelmed. But we were so appreciative that, because she could have bailed. And I'd be honest, if I was her, I might have bailed,
Yeah.
because there was very, very little help, that was willing to step up. But I think Mary Jane Boetti has really stepped up and helped out Angela Lurs. So thanks to them, they made that donation to the Miles of Hope organization. So we were still able to get that to Coach Horahan from Lakeland, and very appreciative of that. And anybody who can always donate to Miles of Hope, right? What a wonderful organization. My wife has been a part of that for years. we were instrumental in running like Goals for Hope, I think, and Hoops for Hope at Marist College. So yeah, that's an organization that's been around, for quite some time. And we do some stuff in the wintertime too with the boys and girls basketball teams at John Jay. Have a night where we have a pink out and we bring in Miles of Hope. So awesome organization. Unfortunate that we couldn't, play the game, but it is what it is, right? And listen, thanks to Coach Axe, because Coach Axe took over for you and me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and he ran some really good sessions with both the varsity and the JV combined. And it sounded like the kids just had an absolute blast. Playing in some different tournaments, and just mixing the kids up and scrimmaging and just, keeping it competitive, where the guys were still working hard. So, we certainly didn't see any, indications that we didn't really practice with the team all week long because we played well today at Ramapo. We beat them 3-0, and Ramapo's got a good team, but we played really, really well today. So, we really haven't missed a beat. They don't need you and I, Coach,
No, no.
which is a good thing. We want that to be the case. We were worried that we'd have a little bit of a hiccup, but not at all. I mean, the guys came to play right away. I think that the first couple minutes, maybe the first 10, 15 minutes, we had like 5 or 6 corner kicks, right? I mean, we were attacking in that final third of the field and trying to get to the end line and really creating some good chances to score for ourselves.
Yeah, we came out really well, and I was nervous heading into the game because, we hadn't been able to, be at practice, and I know Coach Axelson did a really good job. We had, 4 practices. 2 of them were on our grass field, which was just annihilated after that nor'easter that came through. So we practiced on Tuesday and Thursday. Those were the practices I was able to attend. And, we weren't able to do a ton, but I was really happy with what we were able to accomplish. We worked on some finishing and shooting and set pieces and things like that, and fitness, keeping guys running. Guys were able to see our athletic trainer, Mason, and get things worked on because we have guys who are dealing with, various soft tissue, types of injuries.
Yeah.
And then the 2 days that we had the turf on Wednesday and Friday, like you said, Coach Axelson had them, scrimmaging 11v11 intermixed, and then had them play, like a round robin, small sided, tournament type game, with 4 teams on Friday. So, it wound up being really, really good still, in spite of us, being sick, and Coach Axe, stepped up and was just awesome. And he was not the only, member of the JV team who stepped up this week, because in today's game, right, we have 3 varsity goalkeepers. We've ranted and raved about how fantastic they are all year. And we found ourselves with 0 goalkeepers available this year, today, I should say, against Ramapo. So our JV starting goalkeeper, Andres Henson, we called him up to start and play the entire game, and he played really well. He had a clean sheet. He commanded the penalty area. He made 5 or 6 saves. And just did a great job. You wouldn't have known that it was his first varsity appearance or his first varsity start or anything like that. He's got such a bright future ahead of him. He's really fantastic. He's got really good hands, good footwork, good technique, stuff that I look for when I'm evaluating goalkeepers. I'm really impressed by him for a 9th grader, and am thrilled to have him be part of our program for the next 3 years.
Yeah, you would never know he's in 9th grade, right? I mean, he's just awesome. And you're right with Coach Axe. We've spoken about how lucky we are, to have each other, as a part of the program, and Coach Brian Fulton with us, who's been with us for years as well, and Coach Axe, and Coach Oliveira down at Van Wyck. I mean, just the consistency alone, is just so valuable, but not only to have, Coach Axe and Coach Oliveira and you, me, and Coach Fulton to be there for years, and to have that consistency. I mean, the guys are just great, like you said, Coach Axe just, we didn't skip a beat this week with the guys. Coach Axe is able to run, a practice with 2 teams, not just his JV team, and his JV team's going for an undefeated season, right? They had a real big game this morning as well, against Ramapo without a goal goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
They've got two goalkeepers. One of them was injured, and one of them, Andres, we called up to varsity. So a credit to John Wilson, who's a sophomore for the JV team, right? He hopped in goal, former goalkeeper when he was younger, and heard that he played great, right?
Yeah.
And our
Yeah.
JV team was able to win that game 2-1, and finish their season undefeated. So a credit to Coach X and a credit to all those players.
Yeah, and we've talked, sporadically throughout the season at just how talented this JV team is. They're really fantastic. Definitely the most talent collectively that I've seen on our JV team in the 11 years that I've been here. And just as a reminder, right, like the vast majority of them, they went undefeated with Van Wyck last year, despite their four best players being on our JV team. And our JV team has four eighth graders on it again. So just there's so much talent coming through the pipeline for us in the next 4 or 5 years. It's just such a delight to see, because there's players are just so good, so talented, and coming up and performing and playing well, and kind of understanding that there's a culture of winning, right? Like we've had over the years guys come up and not realize that we want this to be a program that where the expectation is we're going to win all the time, right? Like we talked about that after our Scarsdale game earlier in the year, where players kind of reacted as if they were shocked that we won. In my mind, I anticipate we're going to win all the time. And having these guys who are now 13, 14, 15 years old, who are experiencing that the same way that I experienced it as a player, and you experienced that as a player, is just awesome, because I think it builds that confidence and it builds the strength of our program, and the expectation that, we are here to play good soccer and dominate and win.
Yeah, and listen, truth be told, we've been down a bit, right? Our last league title was 2021, I believe, right? And 2025, we didn't win the league this year either, right? We came in second place. North Rockland won the league, so we've been down, and that's something that I think definitely irks us, and definitely disappoints us, that it's been, now 4 years that we haven't been able to come home with just a league title. And, we usually set our sights higher than just winning the league title. But, if you can't win the league title, it makes it really tough to win the section, or to win the state. So, you got to start somewhere. But like you say, I mean, those young players, doing it at Van Wyck, not only winning their league at Van Wyck, but being undefeated. And then same thing at the JV level, being undefeated. So as these younger players come up, a credit to their youth coaches, not only Coach Oliveira and Coach X, but, Coach Brian Fulton, Coach Kurt Jesman, I think are the two primary guys that have worked with a lot of those young players coming up. And you and I have been in the East Fishkill Soccer Club as well, coaching young youth teams, and we understand just how difficult that is, and how much time and how much energy, you have to put forth in that stuff. So very appreciative. We're very lucky, that we've got so many good youth coaches, that just, like you say, year after year, just feed us, tremendous talent. So for us, to finish in second place this year is a little disappointing, but, we certainly hope that, as we go forward, we'll be able to bring home, another league championship to our gym banner sometime soon, sometimes within the next year or two. But second place for this year, not the end of the world. What do we go? 7-2-1 in a pretty tough league. We
Yeah.
talked about North Rockland. Won the league. They've got a very good squad. They beat us 1-0. We were able to beat them when they came to us. We were able to beat Arlington both times this year. Couldn't quite beat Ketchum both times. Beat them and tied them. But it's a tough league. I mean, Spring Valley and Ramapo, new to our league. Good teams. I mean, these are good soccer teams. Ramapo, just to give you an idea, Ramapo, we beat 3-0 today at Ramapo, right? They beat North Rockland 2-1 earlier in the year, who won the league title, So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really competitive league that we're in, and it is not an easy league to win. But still, you and I want to bring home that league title at some point soon, Coach. So fingers crossed that these young guys, as they come up, undefeated at Van Wyck, undefeated at JV, hopefully they can keep it going for us at the varsity level.
Yeah, I do hope so, and I think they will. There's no reason to believe that they'll do anything other than continue to develop the way that they have. These guys, love playing and can't get enough of it. So I'm really excited at the prospect of having them to the point where as the JV season is over today, typically we call up two or three, sometimes maybe four guys. Coach Axelson and us will talk. He'll recommend players who he thinks can help us contribute, in the near future. And but we are so pumped up about so many of these players that we are calling up nine guys. All
Yeah.
right, nine
Yeah.
players, from the JV team, who just we think we want to see them play with our varsity guys. They looked like they competed with Coach Axe when they were running their combined practices earlier this week, and we just can't wait. So the first of which is Andre Sensen, the goalkeeper who we talked about, who played
Yeah.
today. He obviously can play
Yeah.
with our team. Like talk about a spoil of riches, right? Like man, we've talked how we think we have the three best goalkeepers around. We've said it all year. Andres is right there, right? He's
Yeah.
just fantastic.
Yeah.
So he's really really good. We have also coming up Luca Tricarico, right, whose older brother Mark played for us and
Fantastic.
was
Yeah.
a captain on our team and a great leader and a great player. And Luca's just been fantastic. He's a ninth grader, played with the JV team as an eighth grader last year. He plays in the back. He's smooth with the ball. He's a good defender, very smart, high IQ. Really excited to have him in the mix with us. Who else is coming up? JJ Humphreys, who's also a sophomore, right? He is a sophomore. He's played 2 years. He also plays in the back. He's got unbelievable speed. He was working with, I believe, Zach Rabati was training him when we interviewed Zach. He had
That's
said
right.
he
That's
was
right.
doing training with him and had a fantastic JV season. We have Aiden Gashi, who is just amazing with the ball, unbelievably talented on the ball, plays in the center midfield, a ninth grader, again, played on the JV team last year as an eighth grader. We have Gianluca DiGesso, who we talked about over the summer, had a really good summer season with us in the summer leagues at Lakeland and Ossining, plays like a defensive midfield type role.
Wish he would have tried out for varsity. I think he might have had a chance to make the varsity team this past fall, but he didn't. He stayed down in JV, right?
He
Yeah.
did. I think he would have had a chance. We talked earlier about how some guys, it's different for every player on whether they should stay down or come up, right? Like last year we gave Lucas Reverso the option and he opted to stay down. And this year he's our goal leader right now with 8
Yeah.
goals, right?
Yeah.
So and then other guys come up and it's the right decision. I guess it was right for him. What I remember about John Luca is him not making the Van Wyck team. I remember going to Van Wyck tryouts. I don't remember if he was in 7th or 8th grade, and I remember thinking he's pretty good, but they had just this unbelievably talented team, and he didn't make it. So I was really glad to see him last year at tryouts, and then continuing. I know that he plays on a bunch of teams. He plays down in like Bedford, so he's really pumped to have him up with our guys. He's going to be someone who's able to contribute for us in the future. Liam Kilduff, who's a ninth grader, led the JV team in goals. He's also the best golfer in our school
Yeah.
district. All right.
Yeah.
He
And in
went,
the state.
I believe he went
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the state finals for golf as an
Yeah.
eighth grader last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's a fantastic soccer player too.
Yes,
He's
he is.
fit, he's fast, he's smooth with the ball, he can finish. Which is just awesome. So great to have him. We have Maddox Fulton, who is just one of the smartest 13-year-old players I've seen, right? He's just
Yeah.
so smart. He's able to switch the point of attack. He defends well. He always plays quick, 1 and 2 touch, just plays the type of soccer that we love. And then 2 outside players, 2 more 8th graders, Mikey Dunn and Gio Palladino, both, again, incredibly talented with the ball, incredibly fast, incredibly fit. These guys, if given their talent level, if we are able to teach them what we want at our level, the style of soccer that we play, the type of defending that we want, and really what we're looking for, really the sky is the limit for these guys. And I can't wait to have them, right away. Some or all of these guys will contribute to our varsity team next year, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah. No
have,
doubt.
12, 13 seniors. So these guys are all JV starters and play a ton of minutes and are incredibly talented, even though they're very young. But to me, that just means the sooner that we can kind of continue to work with them and teach them the things that we want out of our players, and the more time that we can have them performing those things on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you put all those players that you just spoke about together with Adidia Chimnensetti, right? He's a freshman on the varsity team already. Kenny Pauline, right, who, was gonna be on varsity, gonna be on JV, wound up not playing. So we hope that he comes back next year. We just have so many good, talented young
And
players, and that
the
go
player who Coach Fulton has mentioned a bunch of times, who was on Van Wyck last year, who wound up not trying out, Jacob Martinez, is
okay,
supposed to be a very, very good player as
it's
well.
awesome. Yeah,
Hopefully, he's able to come to our offseason stuff, and we can get a look at him as well, because
yeah.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. Yeah, so you put all those players together with, a lot of the juniors that we've got currently, that are coming back next year. And like you say, we do lose 12 seniors, so not that we need to replace necessarily 12 spots, but let's be honest, that's usually the way that it works, right? So yeah, we sort of have, 12 roster spots that we're looking to secure. And the thing about I love about all of those young players is just their skill level. I mean, they are just good with both feet. They're able to bring down the ball, trap the ball, pass the ball, dribble the ball with both feet, hit the ball, accurately with both feet. And to me, that's just the foundation. I mean, if you've just got that skill level, and so many of these guys are so good with the ball, it's awesome. So then it's easy to bring them into the varsity level and say, hey, you got to play a little quicker. The game is a little bit more physical. You got to dig in defensively now. You may not have had to defend so much, in your club career, or at the JV level, but you're really going to have to ramp up your defending at the varsity level. It just makes it so much easier versus teaching all that stuff to players. And oh, by the way, we got to work on your left foot, and we got to work on you bringing the ball down into the air, and we got to work on your technique heading the ball. And it just
Right.
but
That
these
technical
guys. These guys have all the technical tools. Yeah.
Yeah, that technical ability takes much longer to develop, right? So
Yes,
they've
that
done
too. Yes.
the hard part,
Yes.
right? Like, if you
Yes.
are lacking technically, sometimes you're years behind, right? People are like,
Yes.
well, I want to get
Yes.
much better. Well, there's only so much better you can get technically in a short period of
Yes.
time, but you can learn a whole lot, and you can adjust your style of play, and you can adapt and learn how to defend much, much better in a relatively short period of time. All right. Because there's a couple, very small minor tweaks that you can do that will, that initial part of that learning curve gets up there pretty quickly,
Yeah.
where you can go from like really not so great to completely passable, and then work on things from there, much, much faster. So to have that foundation, technically speaking, with these guys, they're so unbelievably talented, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And again, credit goes to the youth coaches. I think Coach Boetti as well. Coaches with Coach Fulton and Coach Jesmond. So and all the coaches in the East Fishkill Soccer Club. And I know all the guys don't play for the East Fishkill Soccer Club. They don't play for that same, or those same couple of club teams anymore. As the nature in youth soccer and youth sports. They're drifting off to different teams, and everybody's always got a better spot for somebody to be. It always
Something bigger, better,
yeah.
and
It always involves more money and more travel distance, right? And I'm guilty of it myself as a parent. I mean, we've done the same thing with both of my kids with baseball. We didn't do it with soccer or basketball, but for baseball, we just continue to jump from one thing to the next. Baseball is a little different than soccer. At 12U, when you go to Cooperstown, then that's it. Like, it completely dissolves, so there's no chance of you staying together. And I always found that very strange. Where soccer, it trickles, right? You lose a couple guys one year, and then a couple guys another year, and then maybe 3 or 4 years, your team folds, or maybe you're trying to pick up
merge or
players from other
something like
towns.
that.
Right, right. But yeah, baseball is a little different, where you're just as a 13-year-old, you are literally on your own. And with Landon and with Austin, it was one team to another to another. You just keep trying out for teams, and keep hoping for the best coaching, and better results and good competition. And it's not easy, I tell you, being a parent of kids that play youth sports. It is just so incredibly difficult. So that's why I'm just amazed, and I know you are too, at just the group that is coming up, and just the skill level and the talent level and the desire that these guys have, to get better and to compete, is unbelievable. And for it to be fostered by Coach Oliveira at Van Wyck, and Coach Axe, on the JV team is awesome. So it's our turn now, right? we get them
That-
coming up in the next few years. So
That's
we're
what
looking forward to it.
I was thinking, right? Like, were talking about how they were undefeated at Van Wyck, they were undefeated at JV. If they don't do well with us, man, we got to take a long look in the mirror, I guess, right? Like it's going to be no one else to point fingers at.
Yeah.
So pressure's
Yeah.
on, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I'll take it because they are, they're such a good group. And it is always tough, as you climb the ladder there, like at Van Wyck, I think they play Arlington, but Arlington split two different ways, right? Because they have two
Titusville
different
and
junior
LaGrange,
highs,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get to the JV level, and JV's Arlington, same thing. They have two JV teams, and it's not just about Jay and Arlington, but just to give you an idea. And not only does Arlington have two JV teams, but they have two varsity
Varsity B.
teams, right? So God only knows if some of their younger talented players are sneaking up to the varsity B squad. And I think New Rochelle has something similar. I think Scarsdale has something similar. So
White
we're one of
Plains
those.
too. Yeah.
White Plains, yeah. So we're one of those few schools that are still left with just one modified team and one JV team and one varsity team, which it has its pluses and its minuses, right? I mean, at Arlington, you've got these kids, you've got twice as many middle schoolers playing soccer, and you've got two different center mids on two different teams, as opposed to at Van Wyck, we've just got one, but those kids are all playing together, so it's whatever, there's pluses and minuses to everything. And that stuff is obviously out of our control. But it definitely is not a guarantee, that just because you were undefeated at Van Wyck, you're not going to be necessarily undefeated at JV or at varsity. That things definitely do change, and players, growth spurts change, and their desires. So I feel like sometimes, we get guys at the varsity level that have played so much soccer, and they just get burnt out, unfortunately. And that definitely plays a factor as well. But this is a great group. I mean, we've been eyeing this group for a couple of years with some of the off-season programs that we do. We bring in the Van Wyck guys over the wintertime, and then we usually do some stuff with them over the summertime, although I don't think we did this past summer. But we have in the past, and it's see, those Van Wyck guys. And we have a dinner together, right? Varsity JV and the Van Wyck team all have a dinner together. So we do like to always keep an eye on those younger players and those younger players coming up. We get a chance sometimes to go over to the Van Wyck tryouts, like you were saying, with John Luca DeGesso, and I spent a couple of days over at Van Wyck as well this past fall, looking at the players, and Coach Oliveira is having a great season. Yeah, we've got a good young group, and looking forward to it. And again, just as we wrap up this JV segment, again, congratulations to all those players and to Coach Axe, for finishing that season undefeated.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's fantastic. Well deserved, well earned. They work hard, and kind of gutted out a few wins that they were up against the wall. So, congratulations to Coach Axelson and the whole team. Really, really great job.
And then we segue that to our seniors, right? So Monday we have our final home game of the year against New Rochelle, and that is our senior night. So we honor our 12 seniors that we've got, and we'll put those 12 seniors out on the field. Unfortunately, we can only start 11 of them, but we'll get the 12th one in pretty quickly there. And, we'll get all those guys on the field and honor our seniors with a ceremony before the game. And then, we'll start with 11 seniors starting on the field. And then after the game, we've got a dinner, inside the cafeteria. And again, Angela Lurs, Mary Jane Buetta, can't say enough about all the parents that help out in the Booster Club, and the Petersons too, right? I mean, Brian Peterson was at our Caswell dinner. Garrett's long graduated and in college, but he still comes back to participate in those things and help out. So it just goes to show, the John Jay family,
And I know,
is very tight knit.
I know there's a lot more people too who chip in, but I've also seen Janet Reverso has been in a bunch of things as well, right? Like they're just, wonderful, wonderful people who make a lot of the nice things that we're able to do. That's not just during the 80 minutes on the field happen, and make it kind of a special experience for the boys, which is
my
just
apologies. My apologies to Miss Reverso. That's the problem. When you start to, thank or give credit to youth coaches or parents, you're always missing somebody. So you're right. There are so many people that are involved and that are helpful. And, we're so thankful for all of that. Just looking forward to senior night. I've got one senior myself, right, as a dad. So I'll participate in that senior ceremony with Austin. So he'll play his last regular season home game at John Jay. And then we go off to the sectional tournament, right? So we'll see what happens with that last game against New Rochelle. You and I were watching them a little bit today on Local Live, Sports Engine Play, whatever they're calling it these days. They were playing at Byram Hills, right? So before we got on the bus to go to Ramapo, we were able to watch a little bit of that game and just love New Rochelle, love their coach, love their style of play. New Rochelle won that game 1-0, but
It
they're
was
just so
and
possession oriented
an
and
own goal 1 minute in is, very,
yeah,
very
yeah,
tough. It was,
yeah,
I watched the first half. I didn't get to watch much of the second half because I was driving down, but New Rochelle had a corner kick, I don't know, 30 seconds into the game. And then the ball popped out. It was served in and just a tough touch and an own goal. And then they played 79 minutes of tight, locked
yeah,
0-0 soccer. And it's just,
yeah,
we've been on both ends of those types of games, right? Like we've come out ahead and behind, and it's brutal. It's cruel, the game sometimes.
yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to playing New Rochelle on Monday. We've talked about it several times. We love playing with them. Their coach is a wonderful guy. I
And a
mean,
great coach too.
and
Yeah,
he does such a great job. I mean, they're the top seed in the section, right? They have it
yeah,
locked up. They have, I think, one loss. And we always have good games with them. So I can't wait to have them come up and to play. And, what a perfect game to have you leading into the sectional tournament, right? What a good, preparation, game. It's almost like you're having a sectional game before it even starts. We're playing, if we win, I think we can get as high as the 2 seed. I don't know with bonus points and all this other stuff, what it can be, but bottom line is for our guys, you got to come out and play well. And you have to have the mentality that if you want to win the sectional tournament, you're going to have to beat New Rochelle. So you might as well try and beat them on Monday,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and we're home, so we got a little
Yeah.
bit of an advantage there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they are such a good team, and we've talked about it, a lot. This is podcast 21, right? So we've
21.
talked about a lot of the good soccer that we've played, and even today at Ramapo, I mean,
Yeah.
just a really good soccer game. We got a yellow card. One of our guys went in. I didn't think it was a yellow card at all, but maybe he was cleats up. He was saying when he came off, maybe he went in, cleats up a little bit. But aside from that yellow card, and even with that yellow card, I mean, just a very clean soccer
Yeah.
game from us and from Ramapo, and just teams trying to play soccer. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the past for us. There have been some past years where it's just so physical and ugly and nasty and dirty. I don't think we've had a single game this year, and we never do with New Rochelle with Coach Orhan. He is just such a good coach, and anytime his players sort of get out of control, he barks at them. Anytime our guys do something that is out of character for us, we bark at them, and it's always just such a good soccer game. So that's why we love playing him. We usually try to play home and home, right, depending
Yeah.
upon our schedule and their schedule. And we're an hour plus away from each other. We are not close, but we just enjoy, hanging out with each other and playing against each other and talking to each other, before the games. It's always just a real fun experience to play New Rochelle, because I just feel like it's like sort of like a college level game. I mean, you're just taking that next step to where they just play such good high level quality soccer, and we try to as well. And Byram Hills such a good defensive team, right? I mean, Todd, we haven't played Byram Hills in years just because they're a smaller school, but I mean, there is, in my memory, no better defensively organized team in Section 1 than Byram Hills. Matty Allen's freaking unbelievable, right? Another great guy, great coach. And yeah, so to sort of watch that game today be played between the 18s and both teams just defensively really locking it down wasn't surprising at all. But
Yeah.
still really good soccer to watch.
Yeah, a great preview for the postseason tournament. It was really nice to watch, and we've talked about how we don't watch much of other teams play, but we didn't play till 3 o'clock today. We didn't have to leave until like 1 o'clock, so game was at 11. I had
Yeah,
nothing else going on. Might as well
yeah,
throw it on and watch, and it was just nice to see again. But yeah, there's been good soccer being played all over the place, and it certainly has not always been the case, but it is this year. And no matter what the score of the game is, everyone is playing good soccer. Everyone is, really, really locking in, has been well coached. And to
yeah,
your point, like I want to say 3-4 years ago, we had a game with New Rochelle where I don't think there was a foul call, and I don't think the ball left the ground once. Like, it was
Yeah.
just 1-0 or 0-0. It's just an awesome game. How many times have we played them, and like 60 minutes into the game, we'll look at each other and be like, listen, whatever the result of this is,
Right.
like, what a game.
It's
What a
true.
great
It's
game to
really
be a
true.
part
Yeah.
of. Like, because it's
Yeah.
0-0, and like someone's going to score, and it's
Yeah.
going to suck for whoever does it.
Right.
But
Right.
man, this is a really good soccer game to be a part of. And that's all you can really hope for, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no doubt about it. So yeah, anybody who's out there who's unfamiliar with New Rochelle, tune into our local live or Sports Engine Play station. Monday at 5 o'clock we kick off, and Steve Caswell will be on the mic. We'll have that senior ceremony around 4:30, so that won't you probably won't see that on the Sports Engine Play, but Steve Caswell will be calling the game. I tell my parents, I tell, my wife's parents, Austin's, four grandparents. I always tell them, I usually give them the links for the different games, but whenever it's a home game, I always say to them, don't forget, turn up the sound. And, Mr. Caswell will bring you through the play-by-play action, and he'll do a great job. And yeah, you will just hear him talk about, New Rochelle moving the ball, very strategically and trying to break down our defense. And then when we get it, we'll be doing the same thing. And it should be a really, really good soccer game, because it is every single time we play them.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
good moment for our seniors, for our program in general, right? I feel like this season we've really rebounded from what has been a difficult couple of years, really challenging, and to have, success this year, not just in our record, but in the quality of soccer that we're playing and watching our teams get better as the year goes on. I was looking earlier as I was putting in the results for today's game, and we had talked 9 games into the season, we had scored 12 goals and we had conceded 7, and we had just lost Spring Valley game, which really is the game that cost us the league title,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But since then we've played 5 games, we've scored 20 goals, we've only allowed 2,
Wow.
and they've been against some quality opponents, right? They've been league games.
Right.
So to see us really turn things on and turn a corner, and those conversations we were having with the players earlier in the year, saying like, guys, we can't continue to play like this, right? I know we came away with a victory, but this quality of play is not going to cut it in the sectional tournament, to now where, a lot of those large, macro issues are now little micro issues that we're having to deal with, because like a lot of those bigger things have really settled down and solved themselves. And we're switching the point of attack much better. We're getting forward much better. We're at times defending much better. We're, squeezing half the field defensively better. Just things are definitely improving. And as a coach, I mean, we want to win, obviously, but really I want to know that we're having that positive impact on our team and our players. And this, proof positive. Watch the first 3 games, first 4 games of our season, and then watch the last 4 games, and you'll see, what looks like 2 completely different teams with the same players on the field,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
it's true.
just, that to me has been what I'm looking back at this season and thinking about a lot, is wow, these guys have come a long way. We were complimentary of them all summer, and then we had some kind of reservations earlier in the season, but man, have they answered the call and really worked hard. Like I said, this past week, the 2 days I was there and the field was a mess, they worked very hard with what we were able to do. They took it very seriously. They were very eager to work hard and run and sprint. And we had a couple of those JV guys with us, and they, the Thursday, they were like, let's take these guys over to the hill and show them what it's all about, because I was trying to talk to them, what do you guys want to do? And they're like, let's get these JV guys over on the hill and show them what we
Right,
do. And I was
right,
just like, yes, like, let's
right.
go. It was just great to see,
It's
because these
awesome.
guys, they're into it. And that's what
Right.
I'm doing. As we're running sprints up that hill, I'm telling guys, I'm like, in the 70th minute, 75th minute, when these teams that we're playing are having guys grab their hamstring or begging for subs, you're not. You're here,
Yeah,
you're working, you're not
yeah,
injured, you're not begging for a sub, you're not gassed out. I'm looking at your stat sports data. You're covering the same amount of ground in from the 70 to 75th minute as you did from the 10th to the 15th. All right. You're not
right.
gassed out, and then I was kind of picking on some of the guys for some of their sprint scores, not telling them who was who, but they had some ideas of their own. I said something about sprinting, and Justin Brankamp looked up and he was like, are you serious? He's like, And he goes, I'm getting 21, 24 sprints. I
Right.
said, no, Justin, I'm not talking about you. I said, when I say
Right.
some of you guys,
Right.
apparently I don't mean you. Because he was like on the line ready to go. And he popped up and looked over and he's like,
Right.
are you kidding me? I said, no, listen. I said, some of you. Some
Right.
of you. I
He
don't
played
mean
all
you,
80
Justin.
minutes today, I think.
Yeah,
He played all 80 minutes. Yeah.
He covers the same amount of ground as our
Right.
midfielders.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And is just been just such an incredible athlete. But these guys are into it. They've bought in.
Great.
They're really into it, and it just makes you or me as a coach want to be even more into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just such a pleasure to coach. Don't want to talk, poorly about groups that we've had in the past, but unfortunately, groups that we've had in the past have just fought us, tooth and nail for, do we have to run today? We have a game tomorrow, but we haven't heard it from this group since the very beginning of the winter. We brought these guys in the winter in January, and we're running them in the gym for 10 or 15 minutes, and with no peep, whatsoever. We were pretty, forceful with them on why we were, running them. We wanted them to know how unhappy we were, with our level of fitness the last couple of years. But these guys have just been great. They have been so coachable. They have worked so hard, and and yeah, we've 11-2-1's a pretty good record this year against some really good teams. One more to go to on Monday. When we host New Rochelle, and then the sectional seeds come out, I think, on Tuesday, Coach, right? And then the first round opens up on Friday, October 24th. So I would imagine we'd have a bye for that first Friday game, and we would go straight into the quarterfinals, which was going to be that following Monday, October 27th. But
so for all those practices we missed this week, we should get some practices, and once the sectional tournament starts, you can practice 7 days a week. So we can really work on fine-tuning things, get these JV guys up and working with us, get them integrated with some of our players, and really hopefully take things to yet another level. Right, there's still a level of play that we're hoping to achieve that is above where we are right now, and I think these guys are up for the task.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, listen, we're certainly not perfect, right? We had talked today about a couple things at halftime that we weren't happy about. Just continue to work hard, continue to get better. And our guys have done that all season long, and bring the young guys up and see if they can help us. Just if nothing else, play 11v11. Looking forward to, like you said, a good week of practice. Fingers crossed that I stay healthy and you stay healthy. We can get in a good week of practice, and then see what happens as we get into the sectional tournament. But it was a great season, a real joy, a real honor and pleasure to coach at John Jay. This is my 28th season with the boys varsity soccer team, so I'm living the dream. I really am. Just have an awesome job teaching math at John Jay and coaching, boys soccer. So it's very lucky, very honored to have my own son on the team this year, Austin, and looking forward to a couple more weeks and seeing what we can do in the section tournament. Couldn't get that league title, but we'll see if we can make a little bit of a run in the sectional tournament here. One more to go, on Monday against New Rochelle, Senior Day, where we honor our seniors. And like you say, we get back to practice and work hard. And I was looking at that practice schedule. I think I do want to go Saturday and Sunday next weekend, so we'll have to talk to our players about what's a good time for us to get most of the guys out on that turf field on Saturday and Sunday. I think it's open both days. Prior to our quarterfinal match, Monday the 27th. So had a real good time talking to you, Coach, on these podcasts. Had a real good time with the boys in the winter time, and then in the summer league, and now we've had a good fall season. So looking to keep it going for a couple more weeks. But it's been just been the like I said, honor of a lifetime, really, to be the coach of this team and to have you coaching with me and Coach Fulton, Coach Axelson, Coach Oliveira. It's and just the great group of kids that we've got, and that the supporting, the support of our booster club and the parents. It is a dream to be the John Jay soccer coach. It really is.
It is. You couldn't be put any better than that, Coach. 100%.
And listen, because you and I are close friends as well. People have talked to me about retirement, right? You're 56, Seipp. You're going to be 57 in April. This is your 32nd year teaching math in New York State. When are you retiring? What do I say? Never,
Never,
never.
never.
I have no interest. Please don't talk to me about retiring. I don't want to retire. I love what I do. I love going to school and teaching math, and I love walking out and coaching the soccer team. And it's just, it really is just so much
Yeah.
fun to be a part of.
If people want to talk about retirement, I'm the person they need to talk to, right?
Mrs. Seipp too. Mrs. Seipp is it's tough being a teacher. I mean, and there are a lot of people I'm sure listening know how difficult it is to be a teacher. But I don't know. There's just it's weird because I went into college not looking to get into education, and I sort of fell backwards into it. And boy, I'll tell you, I'm so glad that I did, because there's nothing I'd rather be doing. I swear that that's the truth. I feel like I'm just the luckiest person around to be with you talking on a podcast on a Saturday night about the J boys soccer team.
I
I love
agree.
it.
I
I love it.
agree. I really agree. Anytime I kind of have tough days or anything like that, I keep in mind that this is definitely the job that I'm supposed to have. And I fell backwards into it as well. It was not what I went to college initially to do. And it was really something because my dad was a teacher, something that I didn't want to do. But it's definitely, it's definitely the correct career choice. And it is wonderful. It's no job is without issues and headaches. And this goes for coaching, goes for teaching. And, but just to say there's been so few this year that it's been, a
Yeah,
breath of
it really
fresh
has.
air
Yeah.
and reinvigorating, right? Like
Yeah.
when we can all be on the same page, working together, the players, the coaches, the parents, everyone, right? When we're all pulling in the same direction,
Yeah.
it's amazing how far we can go together.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
and the opposing coaches, like we said, there's just been such good soccer. The referees have been
Yeah.
so good this year. I mean, we disagreed with the card today, but the card was 70 yards away from us. So, but we didn't have it. We never argued with the referee, and we didn't say anything to the referee as the player came off. We just sort of asked him, was that really a card? And he was like, well, the ball got a little ahead of me. I went in cleats up, maybe it was kind of, but it's just, yeah, it's been a great year, and the weather's been beautiful too, right? Like, what has gone wrong? Just that nor'easter that came in on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
supposed to rain this coming Monday for senior night. So, yeah, you can't have it all. But we're pretty close to having it all.
We'll trade all those things if we can, if we can make a deep run here in the sectional
That'd be great.
tournament.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks again for putting this together, man. You're the best. 21 in the
Anytime.
books.
21 blackjack. Right. Hopefully, again, next week we'll be here talking about our match with New Rochelle. We'll be talking about the sectional seeding and our matchup, and hopefully a wonderful week of practice where we are both healthy enough to attend and run those sessions to give Coach Axelson a break after his undefeated JV season. All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week, and hopefully for a couple more weeks after this at least, right? The more you hear us talk and see our mugs here, that means the season hasn't ended yet. So I'll keep going as long as the boys allow us to. All right.
Looking forward to it. Have a
All
great
right.
week, everyone.
All right. Everyone take care. Bye-bye.